everybody. How y'all doing? Good to see you all. We're here back with Todd Geist for another amazing day of AI discussion on the FileMaker platform. FileMaker 2025/22, released July 8th. Released July 8th and has been a really huge release. There's been an enormous amount of stuff that's been added to the platform. A big part of it has been AI. We have a lot of AI script steps. We have AI on server. There's a lot of shenanigans happening. As a result, we have a lot of people who don't really know how to use AI. It's like new to them. They're like, I don't know what I'm looking at. And this is what we've had 2 weeks for. I highly recommend that you go back and watch Wim de Court's week, and as well as watching Live with Us with Todd. They cover, between the two of them, they're going to be pretty much cover, I think, pretty much every basic thing you need to know to get started with AI and the FileMaker platform. It's been really fantastic so far. Please ask questions.
I want to encourage everyone to ask questions, but it came up yesterday that we didn't get through the material as fast as we wanted to. So we're asking that no one ask any questions at all, and you just like hang up and leave so we can get through the material without asking questions.
Somebody hit that mute button again on Richard, please.
No, seriously, we need questions, because here's the reality, everyone. We're learning new stuff, one. Two, the professionals, and I can't really show a picture of Todd, just the little guy over here on my Zoom call. This guy over here, every one of them teaches this shit way too fast. But Todd's been very flexible, and he had like this agenda of stuff he wanted to do, and he realized we got through a quarter of it yesterday or something like that. And so I think it's good for you to ask questions because it helps calibrate the instructors' schedules. Does that make sense? So I tell Todd, you need 20, 30 minutes of material, and there's going to be 20, 30 minutes of questions, right? So Margaret, do we have any questions from yesterday up front?
No.
Okay.
We're good on that front. And we actually got through all of them.
Okay,
So-
good. Awesome. So then today is day 2 of Todd. Todd, what are we doing? It's like the next script step. What do we need to learn?
Yeah, so let me share my screen and we'll kind of set the stage here. Yesterday, we got through perform fine by natural language. Actually, not even through that completely. I might show some more stuff with that today. But we're going to try to get through these things. At least this one, we're going to just like intro. We actually have already used it. We may get into it a little deeper here. But if not, we'll push it off till tomorrow. It's not a problem. And then tomorrow we're going to do some RAG stuff because that's pretty useful, and probably a lot more create response from model. Generate response from model is like your workhorse. You're going to use that a lot. And so we'll look at it. We're going to use that today as well, along with the other stuff that we're doing here. So yeah,
cool.
So let's get in. So here's our solution. And I'm actually going to start with these two guys. Let's move this up just so we can make sure these are quick. We're going to use them later on hopefully in our show today. But I want to start with these. So these are actually amazing. I've wanted these script steps for absolutely ever. If you've ever tried to make one of those things where you build a navigate back and forth in your solution, where you want to go back to the previous layout and the record, that was not too hard to do, but restoring the found set was pretty much impossible. To do scalably.
Yeah.
These two script steps we get for bonus here that come along with the AI steps, and I'll show why they're in here in a minute. But these are here just on their own, and they're pretty awesome. So let's take a look at just what they do. So we're going to go right into. Let's get rid of these guys. So we've got this new, so let's do get record IDs from found set. And again, remember, when you're doing this, you're going to get some notes. I don't know if this doc is updated. It is, good. So, but it just says check back later this month for more information. So we're going to figure out what these are. And it's not too tricky what this type is, but they're going to take some numbers. I believe, like if we go with 1, we're going to get an array of numbers, array of strings of all the record IDs for the found set. Now, What's a record ID? Come on, peanut gallery. What are we
Uh,
talking about?
that would be the little number that FileMaker assigns to the record in the schema, right? It's not necessarily the ID that you give a record, but the ID that exists when
That's
you
right.
make the record.
It is
Good
the
job, Margaret.
internal record ID, right? So let's look at record. Let's look at number two. Number two is an array of numbers. Right, so they're just different formats of the same
Mhm.
thing.
It's the same number, yeah.
It's the same number. Not sure why they did this, but whatever they did, and maybe it's useful.
Somebody in ETS whined about it. Is what happened. And they added it.
So this one's really cool.
Oh, that's nice.
So this is a range because my records are all imported in sequence, 200 to 201. You can get a range of records, and this one is going to be in a string. So it doesn't actually. So a little bit off there. The 3 and 4 are just a range, and the other one, the array was just everything. The nice thing about this, though, let's actually break this up a little bit. Let's actually just hide a couple of records here. Let's go down.
You do this, but let me lay the backstory for the beginners on this real quick. So if you have a brand new FileMaker file that's been cloned, all the numbers in every table start at 0 or 1. They start at 1.
That's
if you
right.
add 5 records, 1, 2, ding, 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 you're up to 5. If you delete the middle record, like say 3, it's gone. And you're seeing this right here. So if we had, say, records.
Yeah, I've just removed them from the found set. So what's happening here is because I removed a couple, the ranges, there are now 3 ranges. It skips, right? And the other thing you can do is if I sort this by like, I don't know, something that's going to make them all goofy, we're not going to get ranges unless they happen to line up, right? So now we're back to this, right? Oh, there's a range.
There's a range.
So even when it's sorted, those guys are in sequence. So what's nice about this, if you use number 3, is you're going to get the most, the smallest list, the smallest representation of the found set. And it's also in sort order too. So it's really cool, right?
That's actually, I was wondering why they were out of order or not out of order,
So
but they're in the sort
I just
order.
sorted them by, I think I chose address, which mostly just means they're no longer in sequence, except for there's a couple places where 290, 291 are together. So they just make a range out of those, right?
Okay. Yep.
So that's really cool that we can do that. And then on the other side, the script step will actually recreate that found set. So let's make a little fake script here, a little quickie. Let's just make a, let's call this save found set. And what we'll do is we'll just save it to our list of IDs. And we'll do get record IDs from found set, and we'll choose 3. Right? And then let's just do this the simplest possible way. This is probably not the way you do it but this is the layout. Let's just use the layout name here. And for this, we'll just use get layout name, right? So now we do this, we can save the found set. Boom. So now if we go look at the data viewer, we've got our list of IDs and we've got our customer view as our layout, right? So now I can go over here to products and I can write another script, restore. And that one just looks like this. Go to list of records. So this is GTLR, not GTRR, GTLR.
We got a
Go
new
to
acronym.
list of, or GTLOR, whatever, GTLR. Go to list of records. And it takes our list of record IDs, which we have. Let me just make sure let me just save myself.
So what happens when you don't use monkey bread?
You can't do global variables unless it's already in here.
Yes.
So it wouldn't happen. Like I couldn't.
Oh, okay.
There's not a double, right? So that's why I did it because I got monkey bread. You see right here,
Oh, okay.
list of IDs, and then you just we'll choose that layout name, and except we'll do it by calculation, and we'll do. I think I just called it layout name.
Yeah.
Or layout. What did I call it?
I think it was
Layout. Oh, I should have been paying attention. I mean, I was paying attention, but I don't remember.
It's not
Layout
Layout name
Yeah,
with a
okay.
capital N.
The capitals won't break us, but
need to be careful. Very careful.
it's helpful to keep it consistent, but they'll still work. Unlike your JSON properties are case sensitive. So now that's all we need to do, right? So now, since we stored it when I was on customer view, if I'm on products, I can just click that and I will go back and I'm on that found. Now let's go ahead and unsort this again. Let's clear. Let's do let's sort by, I don't know, let's sort by company name here. So now we've got a completely different sort and we've got all the records found. We'll go back to products and we'll run our restore script. And boom, we've got 195 and they're sorted by our sort order again. This is pretty great.
This is fantastic.
Yeah, I hope there's some cheering in the Discord there.
There's not AI, but this is super, super, super valuable in general.
Yeah, like you can think about anytime you want to, like anytime you're doing some scripting, you got a bunch of records, and then you need to go somewhere else, and you might screw it to found, or you might need to do a found set on that same table, different find on that same table occurrence. This is actually really useful in transactions. This is a problem where you inside of a transaction, you may need to find, part of your process, you find this group of records and then you find another group of records and you got to go back to the original group of records. You can do all that now really easily. You just store the IDs and store the layout you want to go back to and boom, you're right back. And so it's pretty darn sweet.
Yep.
Will
GTLR identify the range?
It does. It uses the ranges as well. So like in the case of, so if we go back, well, it doesn't actually matter. We can do this anywhere. Let's go. So this is unsorted. So if I if I run the store here, we're going to get a new found set stored. And you can see list of IDs layout name, right? 76 to 150. Because again, I just imported these records, 75 records in. I did it twice. So now that's why it's going from 76 to 150. So now if I go over here, right, and I run the restore, it's going to do the same thing, and we're back 75. It's found them all.
That is really simple. I love stuff like that.
It's really great, right?
Like this is so easy.
And the other thing is like, this is a way also where think about all the ways you can use this. Like, let's say you want to do a nasty find, and you know that find is faster on server, right? You can now do the PSOS on server and get back just the compacted, the smallest possible set of record IDs that reconstitutes the state that you were on, or vice versa. You do a found set you find your records on client, but you're going to do a nasty processing and you don't want to bog the user down with that. So you send it up with PSOS and don't wait for the response. And on PSOS, it can restore that found set perfectly and do whatever processing you want.
Yeah, it's doable before, but it was a pain in the ass, as I remember. It took more.
I mean, you could do it with like GTRR. You'd have to put a relationship and pop everything, and it wouldn't do the sort order, right? So this does sort order, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
It makes it, I think, attainable by more beginner, intermediate level people.
Right? Easy. Yes. This is a great primitive to have. So, like, I think what most solutions will have is they'll have a save, and that will be, you won't use globals, or you use one global, and you'll put a JSON object with IDs and layout name, or an array of those. Then you can just march back and forth through your solution. Right now, it's really easy to do a back button.
Yeah, back button.
Really easy to do a back button.
See, Margie, you could store multiples, right, as you went forward.
No, do you remember when I did that selection list for BVA?
Yeah.
I could easily recode it now with so much
less. It's so easy, and it'll be very fast. And you don't need it. You won't need any special table occurrences or schema
I have to say, like, I
to
had
do
to make
this.
so many relationships to
Yeah.
even get that to work. It was a
Yeah.
complete I got it. It worked. It was a disaster.
Yeah. I mean, the way we used to do it is use a go to related record, but that wouldn't do
Mhm.
sort order. So at least you'd get your found setback, but you wouldn't get your sort order. And you have to create a bunch of relationships or some utility that, you'd have
Hmm.
some table occurrence system that had a GTRR to every table in your system, and then you'd go to related record and then warp to the layout you wanted to.
So I have an important question. What
Yeah.
the hell does this have to do with AI?
So it does, and we're going to get to it. It's because you want this, and we're going to get into it right now, because you want this because you got all these ways to generate data now with SQL and with execute data API, you can get the record IDs, right?
Mm.
So now you can generate requests that get record IDs. And that's what we're going to play around with here for the rest of the show, because this is going to get in deep to both. Well, we'll start with SQL and then we'll see if we get to perform find by natural language, but the both of them are applicable. You can get record IDs from those, which means that you can do a chat to get record IDs and then navigate to it. Beautiful. All right. So let's get into it. So let's go to, I want to go to system here and let's clear this out. And so we're going to mess with some SQL. So let me see here. Global search. Any questions so far?
No. Yeah, go ahead and do it, but I'm going to ask the ultimate question, like, why are we using SQL and why should I give it?
SQL has some nice things. Um, and I've asked very pointed questions about this around what they hope to do with SQL. Because AI is so good at SQL, they're actually making Claris is looking quite hard at how to improve the SQL stuff in FileMaker. And then
Really?
along with that ability to target the fields you want to do it to use in the SQL statement, you can do some pretty powerful things with AI and getting SQL because it's really good at SQL.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
It does make
So
sense.
let me orient myself to what I wanted to do here. I didn't want to do this one. What did I want to do? I want to do basic SQL, which is where, yeah, here we go. So I want to do, so here's the script step I want to start with. And it should be attached to this button. It looks like it is. So we should be good to go.
Okay. I
All right,
assume
here
you're
we go.
going to pull it until there it is.
Yeah, no, I just was making sure it was all set. So here's what we're gonna do. Um, actually, I don't even need this right here. We're just gonna go. Yeah, okay. So what we've got here is first we're going to configure our AI account like we did yesterday. Same thing, nothing different there. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab the user prompt, which is this field here. And then we are going to make a prompt template. And actually, I don't even think we need to make a prompt template. We're going to start by just we're gonna move this out of the way, and I'm going to exit. I want to go with the simplest setup we can possibly do here.
Works for me.
Okay, so we're going to put it, so all we're doing, just a couple steps. We generate, get the prompt, and we're going to run a SQL. We're going to look at this, and it is going to perform that SQL on the table, and it's on the database, and it's going to return those results. And we're going to even do it sort of with the default. We'll have some fun with streaming. And what we've got here, we're not even going to use a prompt. I don't think we need it. We're going to stream. We'll see what that does in a second. And we've got our response template set to the result, which is this field here. Okay. User prompt goes to user prompt. We've got our model, GPT 4.1, account name OpenAI, which matches there. And the other thing is, if we look at the data tables that we want to configure, we're just going to pick from list. And we're picking the tables we care about. Let's add customers, and we don't need CRM system. Let's add invoices. Yeah, we'll add all those. Okay. So those are the tables we're targeting. We talked yesterday about how inside the tables you target the field. We talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do find all invoices over. Let's see if we can do over. Let's see if it can figure out over 100K. Let's just hit it. We hit the button. It's doing its thing. Oh, error, syntax and query. Okay, well, let's see what's
That's
happening
why we're here.
Let's see what we got set up here. So OpenAI prompted user prompt. Let's do a simpler one. Let's do the simplest ones are like let's make sure we got it set up right before we do anything complicated. Find the last 5 invoices. Let's see if it can manage that before we get too much farther into this. There we go. So look what it's doing. It's streaming in the results,
Which is cool.
which is kind of cool, right? So
Mm-hmm.
now we got to talk about what just happened here because it's not clear. All right. So this is important. This is very important because now we start getting into where's the data going stuff. So what this has done, what we've set up here is we passed the user prompt in, we've told it what tables to target, and we've turned on streaming. And let's turn off streaming so you can see the difference. If we turn off streaming, we kill this and we say, go ahead, do it again. Oh, why did that still stream? That should not have streamed. Maybe I didn't save.
You saved the change? Oh.
The script looks like it's saved.
Oh.
Global search with SQL. That's this guy. Global search with SQL. Interesting. I think stream may just work here no matter what. That may be a little buggy right there. It should not stream when this happens. What should happen is the whole thing should blop in as one thing. And that's what happens when you use when you use generate or when you use the RAG stuff. If you don't stream, you just get the result at the end and it all plops in. Right. But this, unless I didn't save properly.
Try it again.
Huh, look at that.
Wow.
Is it remembering, like, what if you change the prompt to find the last 6 invoices? Like,
That's a good question, but it shouldn't. It shouldn't affect the cache. Shouldn't affect that prompt, but
well, it shouldn't. But
yeah, but it's a good thing to try. Let's see what happens.
Good one, Marks.
Interesting. So it streams no matter what. It looks to me like there's a bug and that you cannot turn off streaming on the execute SQL statement, the generate SQL thing here. So we're going to get in. It's a little, this script step is very layered. And so now let's get into what is going. Oh, interesting. Okay. So here's why this is really weird that it's doing this. So what I wanted to do is this one.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize this was still set here. So this is query. This is really weird. This should be the default query. Let's try this again. See if getting back to where I think I wanted to start this whole thing. Get the list, the 6 invoices. And it's streaming. Yeah, sure is. Stream. So we've got action query, which is the default.
Okay.
We've got everything else is set up correctly. But let's talk about what's happening here because I think that'll shed some light on it. When you have query selected, what actually happens is we can bring up the help docs here. It's actually quite useful. So let's go ahead and do that. And the docs are here for this one. So query returns the model's final response to the user's prompt in natural language. Query for data only returns only the data retrieved by the last SQL query. Get SQL returns all SQL statements generated by the model. Get first SQL returns the first one, and get DDL gets that same DDL we were looking at yesterday, right?
Okay.
So, but what's I think they go into a little more detail here, further down. Yeah. So there are 7 steps. This is important to follow. The script step sends a prompt with the relevant DDL specified by data tables to the AI model, right? The model analyzes the prompt and schema and generates one or more SQL queries designed to retrieve the information from the database. Now it says one or more because it actually checks to see, does this SQL query make sense? And so it might try a couple different ones before it thinks it's got a good one. So it's actually calling the model possibly more than once here as part of that process.
Okay.
Okay. And then it executes. These 2 steps are model. They're going to the LLM. This step is happening in FileMaker. It's querying running the SQL to get the data. This step sends their SQL results back to the model. Now you've got data going to the model. That's the key thing.
Okay.
This is where we should be getting all kinds of people worrying about data security in the Discord right now. They're like, what's going on? And this is the thing you got to worry about. If you do this, if you just use the default query, you will be sending the data from the database to the model and the model provider.
Oof.
Got it?
Yes.
The other thing it's going to do is that's going to chew up your tokens. Because let's say you get back 100 rows, big giant data table. All of that's going to get converted to tokens, going to cost you more money. All right.
Okay.
This is the simplest thing to do, and it works. And there's definitely cases where this is probably all you want to do is just use query. Like maybe you only want to get maybe you want to say, what's the name of the company that got my most expensive invoice, right? So it'll query, it'll invent a SQL statement that'll query for that data, and it'll just return that one company name. That's probably fine. But if you're searching for a bunch of data records and you want that data back as a raw data set for something else that you're doing, then you probably don't want to use this query step because there's no reason to send it to the model again. You can get the data very easily once you have the SQL, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the model determines that the results require further processing refinement to fully address the prompt. It may generate additional SQL queries, repeating steps 2 to 4. This allows for complex queries or multi-step data retrieval. So this is super powerful. Like it can do one query to find all the customers that meet some criteria. And then it could take some of the data that it finds in there and do another query to find their invoices or something like that. So it'll go through this process of querying the database and going back to the model until it comes up with a result that it thinks satisfies the user prompt. This is basically an agent. It's a simple AI agent that has the ability to query the FileMaker database until it gets a result that it thinks satisfies the user prompt, the first thing.
Got it. Okay.
After it feels it has, and then finally, once it feels it has sufficient information, it then goes back to the model again and generates its final response, which might be like company names this, right?
Okay.
So if you go with just the default query, you could be running multiple calls back to the model, and you could be chewing up a lot of tokens. There is, in this step,
Where's where you pump the brakes at?
I'm going to show you.
Brake pumping.
You've got parameters. All of the models allow you to do at least all of them that I'm aware of. You could set make a little JSON here for max tokens. And you could set that to whatever you wanted to, 512 or something. And you send that, and it will stop after it burns 512 tokens.
Which means you may or may not get the final answer, correct?
You got it. But this is probably a good idea to do something large so that at least you don't get into some kind of, the model doesn't decide to go into some kind of loop and just, burn 10,000 tokens
Yes, we
through.
had an engineer
Oh,
PSOS FileMaker server. We came back Monday and it had 15 gigabytes of data in FileMaker, or 50 gigabytes, and it was
Yeah.
dead.
So
We need the paddles and try to resuscitate. It was
we're going to see in every one of the steps that talks to the model. So this one, um, generate response, and RAG all have parameters. I actually forgot if PFNL does or not. Let's see. Um, no. Oops, sorry. Here it is. This one. Parameters. So you do have it even here because it's doing the same thing here with this. In this case, like it could actually try to talk to the model a couple of times to get the right find request that it thinks is good.
okay. Does this one, will it also hit like a step where it sends the data back to the model, like
It
the
does not
SQL?
send the data back to the model in this case. The model would perform find by natural language. The only thing going back to the model is the schema and the request or the query that it's coming up with. It's going to cycle on that until it gets actually. Am I 100% on that? I am pretty sure that is true. I just hesitated because let's actually see.
Can we look at the docs?
Let's see because they're not this one. I want perform. I just thought of something like maybe it tries to do a request and then checks the request data to see if it's any good, just like this one does. Okay. So you can do your temperature. We'll talk about temperature and seed, context prompt. We'll talk about that later. So when you do found set, performs find, and the current step updates the model sorted, generated sorted response target is not used. That's right. Okay. Performs found set is JSON. Yeah. It includes data is found set. Does not perform the find. Yes, we know that. Um, and returns the find request sort order, blah, blah, blah. Yes, we know all that. Um, it doesn't say, I'm pretty sure it does not. I'm pretty sure it does not. It doesn't really have the same kind of need to do the round tripping to the model that the SQL one does. So it doesn't say that it's going back to the model. I'm going to take it at its word.
Okay.
But this one definitely does. It spells it out right here that it is going in this loop until it arrives at the response that it thinks is good, right?
We are collecting a small herd of questions.
Okay, give me some questions. Let's start there.
Can it do joins, the perform find by
It
SQL?
can actually. It can. Yeah. So this is why Richard's probably going, why am I doing SQL? Because you can generate some joins that will completely mess with your server. Again, you have to be careful about what tables you allow the thing to look at. You can also, in the prompt say, don't do joins. Like um, if you can't do this without a join, don't do it, kind of thing. So you can prompt it to avoid those kind of things, but it can do joins, and sometimes that's quite useful.
Uh, can you create a step that first asks for validation? Like, can the AI first inform or ask for the user to confirm that's what you're asking?
You could, but they would have to understand SQL. But you could show a SQL statement first and say go ahead or not.
Uh,
We're going to get into some of that in a minute here to show how
uh,
that's done.
per an article by Wim, using SQL can be very slow if there is an
It
open
can.
record. Does
That's
this apply
absolutely
here
true.
as well?
All the same. All of the same caveats apply to SQL as you've ever heard. The reason that I'm focusing on it is because it is very, very useful, but you need to be very careful. And you need to, for all the reasons that Wim has talked about and everybody else talked about. And you just need to know what you're getting into, but it's quite useful step. And we'll look at some things that might be useful just to get your juices flowing on what you might be able to do with it. But yeah, you got to be careful. No question.
There you go.
All right.
We're good for now.
Okay. So let's start to break this thing apart. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change this out. We're going to change our global search to this, this one. And let's look at this one. So now we're going to do it. We're going to do something interesting with this. So we looked at doing like a find to get all the found set, and that's fine. We can make, you can get this, you can return the SQL here, you can return the DDL, you can return the data, you can get every part of those steps. And so that's what we're going to do here. Let's take a look at this script step. So in this first step, I'm going to use this perform query by natural selection, but I'm only going to deal with the tables here. So in this case, I'm just going to select only the tables I want to deal with. And I'm going to choose for my action is get DDL. This is all I'm
Okay.
doing. All right.
So what does this do?
Well, so what this is going to do is generate. Let's actually run it. And to do that, let's go to customer view, and let's do it right here. Find the last 6 invoices. So I'm going to bring over debugger, and we'll exit out of this field. Why is that not running my script? Isn't that script set to? I thought this was set to. Oh, I know why. Because I didn't actually. You got to edit this to get that to trigger. There we go. So now we're going to do. No, it didn't save. Oh, come on. Save, save, save all these things. Okay, here we go. Starting over. Boom. SQL done. Good. Okay. So here we go. We configure. We know this one. We skip on over. We know our user prompt. Now we're targeting DDL and we're just getting the DDL. So what we should expect to see here is it threw an error here, but did it work? No, it didn't. So this is kind of goofy. This is something I wanted to point out. I thought I had this set up a little better, but let's take a look at this script again and we'll fix this. So what it's complaining about, it's kind of silly because this script step, when you choose get DDL, you actually don't need you don't need a model. You don't need an account. You don't need any of this
Okay.
stuff. But because I put in here, I can't put nothing in here. So if I put nothing in here, I think we're going to get an error too. So we'll get another error. Actually, I'll just run this from here. Actually, I can just run this one. So we'll run this here. We're still going to get an error. This is where these steps are a little weird. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to get an error right here. Yeah. Error
Got
5.
it.
Command
Okay.
is invalid. It's because there's no account name. The problem is I don't even need an account here. It's goofy. So what I have to do this is configure an account. That I call not needed.
Okay, so you actually have to go configure an AI account that's called not needed for this? Got it.
Yep. I mean, it's got to match this one. Doesn't matter. It just has to match this one.
Okay.
Right. So it could be, we could put nada in there. We could put whatever. But this account name is what's missing.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to configure an account not needed to match this. I could make this dumb. Right. That'll work. Okay. So now let's run it. Boom. Configure our dumb thing. Now no error. Yay. let's look at the DDL. So now we get our DDL. Remember this from yesterday?
Yes.
Okay. So now we've got our DDL.
Okay. So
And
to
so
make sure
far we've sent nothing to the model
that's what
because
I was about to double check. We didn't send anything to him. This is just getting us the list of tables that we're and the information we're sending. Okay.
Yep. Now you could use that get DDL function we talked about to do this.
Mm-hmm.
What I like about this though is even though there's the dumb thing here, I like how clear and get out of the way, you. I like how clear this is to like set up the tables you want. I just pick from a list, right?
Oh,
I don't have
yeah.
to do that make array and like, calculate. And then if the names change and I don't reference it correctly, like if I change the name of this table to something else, then this step will still work. But if I hard coded in the name invoices and then change it, it'll break, right?
Got it.
I like using the script step for get DDL because it's just safer. The only thing is this dumb workaround you have to do. This is really, really what I should call this is, what do we call this? Stupid FM tricks, right? That's
But
what this is.
FileMaker Tricks has a history. That was a contest in a game show about that years ago at DevCon.
There we go. Stupid
Oh.
FM tricks, right? So that's what we do. And I'm pretty sure that you need to put something in all of these. Like I can't leave the model empty, even though we don't use a model. I'm pretty sure we're going to get an error here if we do. And again, so this is really important. Watch, if I get an error here, watch what happens. This error, command is invalid. For example, set field script does not have a calculation specified. Which of these dumb things is not set? Like it doesn't tell you which of these things is not set. You just have to figure it out. And this is a challenge. I've got some files which I'll share with you guys that you can test to kind of help you figure this stuff out. But so if you're just trying out these script steps or generate from response, my guess is you're going to see this command a lot, and you're not going to know which of the options is required and which isn't. So you're gonna have to keep figuring it out. Put things in there until you don't get error 5. Error 5 means one of these things that's required is missing, and in this case, it's model. But in the case of where I choose get DDL as the action, I don't even need a model. So it's as I say, it's a stupid FileMaker trick. So we can put anything in here, nada, whatever. It doesn't matter. Just put something in. Actually, can you put you can't even put an empty string, but you can put an empty space. That'll work.
The space isn't technically empty, I guess.
Space is not empty. Wow, that didn't save. Let's see here. Maybe I didn't save it. Yeah. You can put an empty string and that'll work. Boom. Nothing.
Okay.
So you got to put something, a period, an empty space, an emoji, something. But you got to put something in there. Otherwise it will give you that error 5. So now we've got our DDL. So the next thing I want to do is I want to create, I'm using insert text. Let me look at, so this is another thing that's helpful here. If you remember, so we're going to configure a prompt because what I'm going to do next is I'm going to actually just get the SQL. Okay. What I want back now is a SQL statement. And the reason I want that is because what I am eventually going to run is just execute SQL, right? If I do this with execute SQL, I do not send the data back to the model. I generate my SQL right here, get SQL. That's the target SQL, boom. So in this case, if I do it this way, I am not sending data to the model.
Got it. Okay, cool.
Groovy? So,
Yes.
but to do that, we got to do a few tricks. So what I'm going to do is first I've got my DDL.
Okay.
And I like to do this separately for a couple of reasons. You might want to, but you don't need to. Like you could do this here. Like here I'm saying Okay, let me go in order here. So in order to do the get SQL part, I need a prompt because I need to prompt this up a little bit. And if you remember let's see if I can get if you remember the, not that, um, this guy. If I get rid of this, I think, and I go back and then I open it up again, it should give me the default back. That's what I want to see. No, it doesn't even. Let me make a new one. So you can see, if you remember the defaults are kind of weird. And um, like you see this text, really hard to read. It's difficult there's like carriage returns in here and it's just difficult to work with. So what I tend to do, another tip here, power user tip, is what I tend to do is take out that default prompt and I tend to format it and put it in an insert text. And the reason I do that is because this is really easy to read.
Yes.
Okay. And so then I add a couple of extra prompts here because what I'm going to do with this whole script step is I'm eventually only going to get back a list of row IDs. And then we're going to use that to navigate to the found set. So I took the default prompt and I tweaked it a little bit, basically saying only select row ID, only select. So I'm making sure that don't give me any other data back. I just want the row ID. And this is this spelling here, capital R, capital O, capital O, this whole uppercase. In a SQL statement, this is how you get that get record ID, that same number we were looking at before.
Got it.
Okay?
Yes.
So let's go. Let's step through this bad boy and see what happens. Turn on debugger. Configure my account, insert text. So now I've got my SQL prompt. Beautiful. And now I'm going to make that prompt template to set this up to use for my generate SQL. And now in my generate SQL, I'm going to pass in the by DDL with the DDL that we've already got here. That's this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying only get me the SQL here. And I'm targeting SQL as my variable for the response. So when I step through and get this, I should get in here a SQL statement. Select row ID from invoices ordered by created at descending fetch first 6 rows only, right? So now it's going to get the last 6 invoices and it's only going to give me the row ID. So that's my SQL statement. And I'm going to do one more trick here. Now I'm going to go back to the model. I'm going to pass in another, let me bring up this user prompt here. I should have put this in a variable. So this is another way I do prompts is I'll use a list function. So I can just list things out row by row so I can see it really easily. And so now I'm going to go back to the model and I'm going to say, you have only one job. Ooh, once job. You have one job. Extract the table name from this SQL statement. Important. Only return the table name. Example, select row ID from context, return only context, no other text. Select SQL statement follows, and then I put in that SQL statement.
Got it. Okay.
And the reason I'm doing that is because at this point, I don't know what table, right? Like, person's just put in a prompt. They've put in whatever. It generated a SQL statement based on the table, the DDL that I have, and that has a from in it. So I'm going to use the model to extract the from. Now you could probably do this without using a model here. You could probably like split your SQL statement on from and then look at the next word after that. You could do a lot of other things, but this will work also. You can go back to the model and say, just give me the table name. So as I do that, and I we go back to our guy here, and we get table name invoices. Beautiful, right? So we got our SQL statement. It picked out invoices from here. And so now we have our SQL statement and we have our table name, and we need both of those bits of information because next we're going to execute the SQL. And here again, we're doing this locally. It's not going to the model. We don't have to do any of that. We're not sending it back to the model. Here I've got my list of IDs. Boom. Right?
There you go.
And now I'm just, if list ID is empty, they say no records found. And now I'm going to go, one last thing to show here is I've just got this. If table name is contacts, return contacts view. So now I'm taking table name to layout. That's what this does, right?
So it knows where to actually go. Okay.
All right. Now we're doing layout name. Look at that. We should have our layout invoices view. And now our final little go to list of records, our GTLR with record IDs using our layout. Boom. We navigated to invoices. You saw that shift over there, and we're on our last 6 invoices. Okay.
That's very cool.
So this unpacked a whole bunch of things. So I want to go through this and make sure everybody understands what it is we did here. We basically strung together all the stuff that we learned about, and we created a kind of interesting workflow where just based on what somebody types in this search field, we generate a SQL query. We execute that SQL local. We generate a SQL query that only returns the row ID in a list. Then we used a model. We used generate response from model to extract the table name from that SQL query. And then we executed the SQL query locally using just regular old FileMaker execute SQL. Then we took the table name, converted it to a layout name, and then we used our new go to layout records, go to list of records with list of IDs to go to the right layout and show the found set.
Which is extremely cool. The ability to just type information and have it navigate to the correct layout and then do the find for you. That's nuts.
So it has started to figure out what, so it's now based on just what somebody types into a field, it actually can take you there and find records, right? So you could imagine this expanding with some more work and some more prompting to a scenario where you have, like, we have that Command K thing in FileMaker.
My favorite feature, yes.
But what you can do now with this, I can't move it. It's in the middle of my screen. You know, this guy, well, it doesn't even show up if I move my screen.
Open quickly.
You can make your own, pop up a little card window. Person just types in whatever they want. And based on that, you can start to say, well, what does this person want to do? Well, it looks like they want to navigate somewhere and they've got a query. So that means I could do that in a couple different ways. I could generate a SQL statement to find the records in the table it looks like they're targeting, or I could find the records using perform find by natural query, which is the next thing I want to show, and then just start to take you there, right? Which is pretty cool. So questions on that?
That's extremely cool.
Unpack it. Let's unpack this one.
It would be interesting to use the perform find by SQL to just show the SQL statement with a join. And then, yeah, someone was talking about using execute SQL. This was an earlier question before you showed this demo. We were talking about using execute SQL to... Right,
so that's what I'm doing here. That's the key. My take is that if you just want to work with the data, if you want something about the data, whether, you know, maybe you're gonna just make a CSV and export it, maybe, right? Or you're going to show it in a virtual list, or send it into a little web viewer widget that can deal with the data, right? If you're going to do any of those things, you don't really want to use that default action query, right? Because that's going to go back to the model to do all these things. You don't really want to do that. And you can just execute SQL fine. So if you just focus on letting the model generate the right SQL for you, then you can execute the SQL in any way that you want. You could also perhaps analyze the SQL. You could say, hey, there's a join. I'm not going to do this. And, you know, you could just say there's a join in here. Or you could go back to the model with the SQL statement and say, is this likely to return the results that I'm interested in? And maybe you get back a yes, no, and you can actually loop on this until you get a SQL statement that you think can run. So there's a lot of things that you can do with that by just breaking this apart into get the SQL statement, check the SQL statement, show the SQL statement, let the user confirm, and then executing that SQL statement later kind of thing.
Can this all be done locally without having to use an FM server?
None of this is using an FM. This is not on a server. This is all running on my desktop, local FileMaker file.
Now, there's a manner of confusion where people think that the FMAI server is somehow connected to the script steps, and not necessarily.
Yeah, so FMAI server, so this is something to really just park in your brain right now. The FMAI server is not directly tied to any of these functions that we're showing here today. You do not have to use the FMAI server to do anything that we've shown yesterday or today. In fact, you don't have to use it for any of it. In fact, there's nothing in FileMaker that you need to use the FileMaker AI server. It's not a requirement. They are two completely separate decisions. Really, I cannot stress that enough. You do not need to set up an AI server to use anything we've talked about. And any of the new AI features that are in FileMaker do not require an AI server.
Yes. This is not like PSOS, where you're sending information to an FM server.
Yes.
It's not remotely the same thing.
You could do all of this server side and get back the record IDs.
Yes.
And that would be faster. So you could do all that using PSOS. But it has nothing to do with the Claris AI. In fact, I am not going to talk at all about the Claris AI server. We've already talked about that, except to say don't run on your production server. That's the only thing I'm going to say about the AI server.
And write a big check if you want one.
Yeah, and write a big check if you want one. That's all I'm going to say about it. They're not related to making any of this stuff work. Got it?
Yep.
Okay.
We'll probably end up saying that a couple times over the next couple of
Yeah.
the next year.
As new people come, maybe people weren't here for the beginning.
I get why you'd want to associate the two, but they're not related.
They're not related. They are separate.
This process just shown is primarily used to avoid sending data to the model, ?
Well, it's not, I mean, sure, but I think the thing is, like, as you get into this, you'll start to find all kinds of use cases for this stuff. And so you want to know, like, when I use a model, and let's say I want to give the users an ability to like, you know, when I show with proof chat, and I'll show this later this week, like you can just enter something in and you get a chart or a graph or a table, right? You're going to need to be able to query your FileMaker database to get that stuff, whatever the user puts in. So the user is going to write in whatever, show me the last 5 invoices. Somehow you got to get that into a search that can find the records that you want and then display it either on a layout or in a web viewer or whatever. So you really want to get familiar with how that is done and when data gets sent to the model and when it doesn't, right? So if you're using execute SQL with a SQL statement generated by this perform SQL query, which is unfortunately the script step. The script step has perform SQL query, but it doesn't. That only happens. It only ever performs the query when you choose these two. It doesn't perform the query if you choose these. If you choose any of these. So this, unfortunately, the script step is just awkwardly named. I think the idea originally was that. These were the two, so you can do the query, and what that's going to do is it's going to query the database, get the data, send it back to the model, and then generate a new text response based on that, right? And then what this one's going to do is do the same thing, except it's not going to generate a text response, it's just going to send you back the data. But both of those are going to the model to do all that. These don't, and so the idea was that these would be for debugging. I think they're more useful than for debugging. I think they're quite useful because you don't want to send the data to the model necessarily, right? It burns tokens, it's privacy issues, whatever. So I tend to break it up into a couple different steps. I get the SQL, and then I execute SQL using this script step. more control. Groovy?
Yes.
Yep.
What's the difference between get SQL and then get first SQL only?
Yeah, so it's a good question. Get first SQL query stops after one shot. So basically, I think we could use this interchangeably here. Get SQL is going to actually return all of the queries that it thinks it tried, basically, as it's working through what's the best query. So far, I haven't seen it return more than one, but it's possible that it could. So probably even the best thing to do here would be to use this one, get first SQL only.
No, it's not handling multiple requests. Okay.
Yeah. More
Uh,
questions?
yes. When would we use this SQL method versus the natural language method?
So I think if you are, so the natural language method is probably going to be where you start. But if you start to build AI tools that, again, you're doing queries that are best expressed in SQL to get the data back, that's going to be your go-to for it. It's just some are going to, you can use both because you can get the found set of records back using the perform find. You can get the result as a JSON object. So that will work, and you can loop through that and do that. The difference is that you're going to get back JSON, whereas with the SQL, you're just going to get back just that return delimited list of values. And in some cases, that's what you want. There are cases where that's what you're going to need. So anytime that you used execute SQL in the past, you're going to want to use it here. Would be basically if you've used it. And if you haven't used execute SQL, maybe you don't have a use case for it yet. But the main thing I wanted to go through this in this detail was to make sure you understood what this is doing, what the different steps are doing, and when the data is going to the model and when it's not. That's the main thing. And then I wanted to show off this cool go to list of records, right? Because that's kind of cool.
Yes.
And so what we created here was a basically global search. Type in anything, right? Target any table up here, and it'll just go there and it'll find. It uses the SQL to do that, which is a little weird. And I've got an easier way, which I want to show here because we're already at time. So I want to show this easier way, and then we'll probably just stop and take questions and do some other stuff.
Can we get this sample file?
Yeah, I'm going to make all this. This will all be available. Yeah.
Because I want to
that was
try
a
this on
question that I got.
BVA to see what happens.
On what? On your?
Oh, it's one of my. I have one customer I service, just me personally, because it's always good, even as a boss, to do FileMaker, so you know what you're talking about. And so my one customer though is very cranky. Like if you piss them off, they just pull the plug out of the wall on the computer because I mean, and of course they use Windows PCs, which makes it even worse. So I want to try this on them and see what kind of bullshit they write. And I want to create a log so it logs what they ask the AI to find for them. So.
You get an idea of what you have to compensate
So I'm going to
for.
show you, I think an easier way to do global search because I think it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think it's this one. Yeah. So let's change the global search to call.
Take as much time as you need because we need this. And if you have a simpler one,
I do. This one, I think this one will do global search pretty easily. And again, you could go farther with this stuff, but this will kind of, I hope, just because I think everybody wants the ability just to type into a box and hit enter and have it take you to wherever that data is.
Yeah, the magical layout jumping. Yes.
That's kind of the thing.
Auto magical, right?
So how do we do that? So I just showed you one way by going through the SQL, and we really broke down that SQL step so you understand how that perform SQL by natural language works. And that's important to know if you want to mess with that. The other way to do it is to do it with this guy. And so what we're going to do here is same, we're getting our user prompt, we're configuring our OpenAI account, and then let's see what we got for instructions going on here. So in this case, what I'm doing is I'm going to prepare a prompt to send to a model. And so what I'm doing here is I'm saying, and again, I like to use the list function to do this so you can read it. It's just really easy, Determine what FileMaker layout would be the best one to perform a FileMaker find on based on the user's question. Then we say, important, only return one of these 4 options. Then
That's exactly what I need.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
And then in order to make your choice, go and get those fields on the layout. But in this case, I'm using separate layouts, not the ones they look at, but the ones that have all the fields in find mode.
Yeah,
so
I
they
called
just
those
shows up.
maintenance layouts. Yeah, maintenance layouts. Yes.
And so it's basically going to get all of this. And so if we look at this in, well, we'll see it when we run it in debug mode. This is going to create a nice detailed prompt that will help this guy decide, I want one thing. Which of these guys is going to be the best one to answer the question? And then, so I generate response. I'm using GPT-4.1 Mini here because this is actually a pretty easy one to do.
Mhm.
And I'm passing in my instructions. My response is going to be a layout variable,
Okay.
right? Make sure that's saved. Then what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to get that same JSON, find everything on the right layout again, just for my schema for find. And then I'm going to do a find prompt. We're going to do a prompt template for the find request. I'm going to get my final layout, the one I want to view on. Then I'm going to go to that layout. Then I'm going to perform that find right there on the layout, right? So this is kind of combining what we did yesterday with some of what we learned a little bit, what we learned here, but we don't even have to use the go to layout, restore found set here. We're just going to go to the final layout based on that same kind of, thing we got here. And I'm going to perform the find there. So let's see, we'll start on customers. Let's go here and say, find products named. I think there's a real in there somewhere. Let's see what that, whoops, wait a minute. Hang on. I got to run this guy through here. Find products named, I think real. There's a real in the product name. So let's see what that does. So we're going to step into our script. We're going to go to our user prompt, configure our AI, blah, blah, blah. Let's look at our instructions. And here it's got all the fields. They're on all those layouts.
Very
right?
nicely formatted.
Very nicely formatted. So this is what's getting sent to the model. It's basically saying only return one of these guys. This should really help you figure out what to do, right? So then we're going to step over that. We got back layout products. Boom. First choice done, right? And it could probably do it like even if I just said find prod, it would still figure out I was looking for products, right? Because it's going to be good at that kind of thing, or products or product. It's going to figure out all that stuff, so you don't have to code for it all. Then it's going to generate the schema for find, which is just the one now for that one layout, products, all the fields on there, right? I'm going to configure my find prompt, which is, I didn't format this one very nicely. I should have. Kind of ugly, but it's this is what I mean. Like the default, if I didn't spend the extra minute to fix the default prompt here and it got all squished. I don't like that. I would do it. I would break that out, but it'll work here anyway. Configure the prompt, calculate my final layout, and let's see if it got that right. Final layout product view looks good.
Looking good.
Go to that layout, perform find. Oh, it looks like I already did that find. That's already showing. So that one wasn't a very good one because we already were on that found set. Let's go back. And I won't run in debugger here, but find product named real. Boom. Right? So it's now global search. Find contact named. I don't know if there's a Richard in there. Let's see.
We need to send you some more records. I got a 5,000 or a 50,000 record.
Oh, these are. Remember, this one didn't actually work. Interestingly.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go back over here. So this is where you do more prompting. Find. I think I need to do more field names. So I think it's I probably have to do find contact with first name. I don't know, Richard. But it figured out I wanted to go there. It just didn't do any find.
Yes, it figured out what the layout was, just couldn't actually sort out what you were looking
Yeah,
for.
it's not finding that. That's interesting. Find contact first name Joe. Actually, there might not have. It really isn't working. Interesting.
Well, you have a homework assignment tonight. We must have that work. It must work.
It should. It should be working. It's weird. Let me see. Can I switch over to, let's see what it's doing for the find contact view. Oh, let's go data contacts. I don't actually know what it's doing there. Pretty sure I'm curious. I don't know what's let's see, contacts named Joe. I don't know. We seem to have hit a wall here, which probably needs more prompting or something. Customers named Stam. I know we have a customer named Stam. It did that, and I didn't even spell customers right. So there's something with contacts, something in the prompt is confusing it. But it seems to work for, let's see, how about find invoices, or how about just invoices over 10K or 100K? It looks like that one worked.
Okay.
So there's something with contacts that's confusing it. And, this is kind of what we got to learn is how to prompt these things when they get confused and figure it out. But that one worked. That worked pretty well. So we have something wrong with contacts, but the rest of it figured out 100K. I just typed that in and figured out that that was a number. It figured out that that was total sales. Like it took invoices over 100K and did that record. Let's see if we can.
Could you ask us something like, what's the most expensive product?
How would it? But it would have to do a find that would do that. Maybe. Let's see. What's the most expensive product?
It's a bit more
I don't know.
esoteric.
Let's see what it does.
It's chewing.
Nah, couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
Hey, it brought you to products though.
It did.
So.
It's going to find products, but it's not going to do that query. It doesn't quite know how to get that. It doesn't know. This is actually unit price here. I don't know how unit price. I think the prompts have to be better for like finding the maxes and stuff like that with this. Because it's just going to do a find request, but it's not going to be able to do, it's not going to.
Do we need to
what it
turn
should
up the
do is just
IQ
sort.
of the
It
model?
should just do a sort, right? It should do a find would find everything, but sort it and limit it to one. And that's what it should do. It's not able to do that. So we have to do some more prompting to get that query to work. But anyway, I think with enough time, I didn't spend a lot of time on these global finds, but I'll bet you that you could come up with these sort of global find scenarios with the right prompting that could solve these problems where people just go into a box, type, hit enter, like invoices. Like you don't even need nav anymore, right? Right?
Okay, well, what about invoices for a customer, like for a customer?
Yeah, so I think what we'd have to do, we probably could do that, but I bet my
you'd probably need the line items included, right?
I don't have the customer name on here, but let's see. What if I put customer name on here, right?
Yeah.
You need if I go to customers and put the company name, see if so that's the kind of stuff you would have to do. So let's see.
Invoices.
Let's make sure we got a customer here. Let's get this guy, Bohm Group, right? So let's see.
Does this guy have a name?
Fine. Let's see. Invoices for company.
Yeah, but no one's going to write it like that.
Well, what would they write?
They'd write Boehm Group.
Invoices, Boehm.
Four. Like plain
Invoices
English.
for Boehm.
Group. Or just that. Try that.
It actually pulled it up.
Did it?
Yeah, it fucking did it.
There's a company that's got Boehm in it.
Yeah.
In the name,
But
so,
that's called tough because your customer's stupid, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's supposed to happen, right?
Right.
That was good.
That's pretty
Todd.
cool, right?
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Because people aren't gonna the more you try to inject your technical prowess into it, like give me if you say the word related record, you fail. No human in the world says the word related record. It's bullshit, right? Just tell me a customer that came in last week. Well, who has the Hughes 500 helicopter in the front? That's in pieces. I mean, shit like that, right? It has to be plain English.
Right.
So, all right.
So I mean, we're going to be able to build those features. The tools give us the building blocks. As we've seen, there's learning to do, and you have to do prompt engineering. You have to, you're going to have to do what's sometimes called prompt chaining or sequential processing. You process like I was doing to get I got the layout. All I did was take the user prompt and say, give me the layout first thing.
Yeah.
Right. That's one generate. Then the next one is now just take me to that layout, right? We only went to the model twice in that case. First thing we just got the layout name, which is kind of cool, based on whatever somebody puts in, and that means that pretty much like, I don't know, let's try something like what if I just do prod? Look at that. Takes me to products.
Okay.
Because it's taking the user prompt and just saying, give me the best guess on what layout I should be looking at.
Now,
right?
if you said something like products purchased by Gary, the problem with that is you'd end up doing line items and you do an unindexed search or some shit. So
I don't think
it
it'd
would
be too bad. I think you have to. So let's see what we have to do here. I think we just have to basically lay out if we want products. So that would be, so basically that is what you would do is you'd go to contact. Let's do customers. There's something up with contacts. Let's do customers.
Well, the funny part, the solutions, customers and contacts. Yeah, that's
and there's something confused between customers and contacts. Let's try to avoid that for now.
Yeah,
because we'll be able to get the same answer here. But I think all we got to do is go like this.
Put the portal in there.
We put our products portal on there, right?
Yeah, and put the couple fields with the fields in there. Yeah, product name, description.
Yeah, put name and description. And let's say, so this would let us do a query like, show me all customers who bought X, right?
No, I just want to see what Fred bought. What has Fred ever bought? He's been here 12 times. What has Fred bought?
That one, so we want to end up on products there. So we're going to need to do that find. That would be the reverse of this, right? So let's leave that there. Let's go to product.
Well, I'm just saying that's a plain English request.
Sure,
right?
but so we got to figure out how to do that. So the way we want to express that is going to be on our field where we're generating the find.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I don't know if this is going to, we'll see. I don't actually know if this is going to work.
Yeah, but this is, real world. This is good, right?
No,
this is where
work.
AI becomes valuable.
So we're going to go here and we're going to go to contacts and we'll put that on here and we'll put first name, last name.
Didn't we want to do customers because contacts is
We
having
did,
issues?
but I think this will work. Why don't we do customers?
Not to mess with it, but
yeah, see, for most of the databases, customers, and we have, customers are kind of
right. So these are all the people who have. This is products by Schmo, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So now what we say is products by prods bought by Stam. We know it can find Stam okay.
Mm-hmm.
It took us to customers. Did not do it.
Yeah.
Did not do it. Did I save this layout? I did.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do products.
Spell it all the way out. There we go.
By, or just say bought.
Purchased. Yeah, purchased
bought
or bought
by Company. I don't know. Let's try to keep it simple and STAM.
Okay.
Well,
So
it's looking for invoices. So it's not able
yeah,
to do that very easily. Let's do the other one. Let's see if we can do the other one with what we built so far, which is we've got data on customers, right? So here we can say, um, find all customers that bought endpoint system. Let's see if that works. Find, let's just say customers who bought endpoint systems. Nope. Can't do that. I think there might be something else we got to do to this portal. Like, I wonder if we have to label it
yeah. Double click and put a
or put a layout name on it. Like, what if we do, I
Can
don't
you
know if
give it
this
a
will
name?
matter,
Yeah,
but why not? Like,
products, right?
this is products purchased.
Purchased. Yeah. Try that again. Yeah, this is the trick with this is
Products
because you're gonna have to think of
purchased.
every stupid thing your customer is going to ask for and test it. I can imagine what the testing matrix is going to be for
Products purchased.
like
No,
uh,
it was customers.
customers
Customers.
who purchased
Customers who
who
purchased
yeah purchased what
endpoint was the name.
endpoint
Let's
system.
do endpoint. Let's see.
Yeah, sure.
Customers. No, it went to products. Interesting.
Yeah, but
Interesting.
you could see the related
I
customers then,
think so. Part
right?
of what I wanted to try is I
Hmm.
wanted to actually, so when we did this prompt here, right,
Hmm.
we've got this. So I
We're
wonder
using
if
many. Do you want the full AI on that, or just you're using the mini? I mean, I don't. Once again, we're about
this is for the layout. That one's easy.
okay.
Good idea. For
Because
this
every time
guy,
I
well,
get
I'm
mad
using
at
the
it,
full.
I'm
I'm
using the
using the
full.
full.
Okay.
Yeah. There is another thing there's another thing that I wanted to try. We don't have time, but like this prompt, um, this find prompt,
Hmm.
one of the things I wondered if it would help to do is actually to do that, get DDL and add it to here. Because the DDL, the models understand relationships
Mm.
based on a DDL. They're very good at SQL. So if we gave it, and if remember, I can probably just snag this from
Yeah,
here.
yeah. I mean, unless you have a hard stop, keep going. Because here, this is one of those things that if we leave it half done, the audience is going to be like, "Well, it kind of works, but not really." And I
Look,
would.
I gotta tell, I mean, just to be very clear, we are at the
Mm.
beginning of the learnings here. We are at
No,
the beginnings of the
I know, but
learnings.
people have this expectation. I mean, once again, I'm looking for one thing this thing that AI does well that we can almost glue universally into
That's
like,
easy. That's the simple perform find by natural request on a layout. It works every
yeah,
time.
okay.
There's not a problem with that.
This is a multi-table
Right.
moment.
So now we're dealing with global, and we're trying to get we're also trying to, now we're not just doing a find on that layout, but we're trying to tell it to figure out how to
The
deal with the
context,
portals and all that stuff.
yeah, the
I also
context.
think I think we may have some other issues here. I
Well,
think,
this right here would be a show, and I'm not saying to
yeah, I mean, we could
disrupt
do a
it,
whole thing on
but
this. Like,
yeah, but this is one huge. I mean, from listen, audience, I need feedback on this, like where you upvote or not upvote or whatever. But if you had, you need, we need a killer use case, and even if we had some cookie cutter instructions to people to help, like Margaret, say like Margaret was, kind of like the low level of the audience, right? But Margaret understands context to a degree. Doesn't mean she always gets it right. She understands these things. If we gave them instructions and a sample file and say, glue this into you should have a generally good AI that's helpful to the end user.
so so we're choosing to package that all up in proof chat, share that. There are
Oh,
other things that could be built. Somebody could build a really nice universal find, for example, and they could just have a set of steps that you could just put in there and copy it in. But
so you guys are working on proof chat. So who's
yeah,
working on my
we'll
super?
probably have other pieces of it that go with it that will have drag this add-on in, edit these few scripts, and it's good to go. What I'm
That's
trying to show here is the building blocks.
Oh, well, clearly,
Yeah,
I got all
yeah,
that. I'm being
yeah.
greedy. I wanted to. completely work now.
You're gonna so if the simplest and quickest bang for your buck is perform fine by natural language on the layout. Works every time. There's almost nothing you have to do.
And not jumping
Yeah.
context. Okay.
The next thing is like, how do I make use of these things in more interesting ways? So, I mean, there's all kinds of use cases here that you could imagine based on whatever your data set is and what your workflows are. I mean, I showed with Proof Chat, I showed, dragging a business card into a web viewer and, automatically creating a contact from that. That's all doable with these base level models. Not even with Proof Chat. You could drag a business card into a container field, send that to a model to get back the JSON, and then send that to a script that creates a record. Like that's all doable with these base layers. But you need to start playing with these generate response. You need to start playing with these, prompt templates. You need to start figuring these guys out to do that. But you will be able to do it. Like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this gets back, and I guess we can kind of end towards this, but this is this expectation. So people see AI like they can ask it questions and it does, and they're like, we want that in FileMaker. And what they don't realize is that everyone who built every little web AI thing that you interact with that you think is awesome, okay, went through this process of massaging the out of it. You didn't see that. You're watching the sausage being made. Unfortunately for the pig, a pig came in one side of the live stream today and sausage came out the other side. And no one sees that. You say, hey, check out this demo. It's the most amazing thing. And you type some shit. And that's because the sausage was already made and you're eating the sausage. And it's so tasty, right? And here we are building the sausage, realizing the pig went in backwards. And now we have backwards pig sausage. It's right. The pig has to go in frontwise, not backwards. And so it's like, so everyone just understand, Todd was talking about this last 2 days about what AI represents. And it's not human, it's smart math, right? And the other thing with this is that you're going to have to massage it. And whenever you see someone showing you something so amazing, either in this platform or another platform, they've already run the pig through it and have already massaged it so it comes out beautiful and smelling wonderful. And we're not seeing that. We're seeing the sausage.
No, because that won't help you, except unless you can, unless you need that exact thing and you can copy and paste it into your solution, then great.
But
an example would be that if you wrote a script for the first time and it had a bug, and instead of going like, oh, I need to fix the bugs, you're like, oh, this is a trash script. It doesn't work. These script steps clearly don't work. I'm abandoning it, and you leave.
Yes, and that's the thing with AI. So this live stream I think is really valuable, Todd, in that, and I don't know if Rick's here. I really wish Rick was in here, because this is what Kalman's been talking about this a lot at Claris. There's this realization that there's a huge investment, and the doesn't just magically work. It's not. There's a huge investment to make it useful, right? And it takes time, and it's going to take effort, and it's changing rapidly. So whatever we learn today is going to be different in 3 or 6 months. And
there are good universal principles that you'll learn, and one of them is that you're always going to be prompting. Like that's part of it. It's like you will, for it to get beyond the basic default functionality, you're going to have to write these prompts that basically put the guardrails around what you want these things to do. And that is the name of the game for making all this stuff work, right? That's one. And then two, we're going to get to tools a little bit later. When you get to tool calling, stuff gets really fun. And tools are a way to take, is kind of the next step. You take this stuff that you can kind of coerce by giving some guardrails to hopefully get the right result. And then with tool calling, you can guarantee that the thing can get you like exact answers for things, right? That is what tools do. And tools work just fine with FileMaker. We're going to show you a couple different ways of doing tools, both with the script steps that we've been looking at and with MCP servers, because it's really the same thing. And so so that's a principle. You will learn what a tool is. You'll learn how to make a tool. It's just a FileMaker script in most cases. And you'll learn how to feed that tool to the AI. And then the AI is going to go, I've got 15 tools. I put a user prompt comes in. I figure out what tool to call. And I figure out what parameters to pass it. And then the code takes over. And at that point, there's no more guessing. It's code, right? Okay. It's going to be your FileMaker script. It's going to do what it wants. Okay. So there are principles that you will discover and learn. that won't change that much as new features roll out or things get easier or whatever.
Okay.
And those are the important things to learn. Tomorrow, what I'll get into is this. This is like we're going to break down. This is a file that I wrote to figure out how generate response from model works. So we'll do that.
Okay. Cool.
And we can do things like what is the weather in Boston,
Mm-hmm.
and send that, and it will generate that. But it will also, where did it get this Boston is 72 degrees? It made this tool call. The tool call is named get weather. The argument is the location. That tool call in this case is a custom function called get weather. So if I put 56 in there and I do that same call again, oops,
So you had to train the AI to know that that tool was there and what the
that's
context
right.
of the tool was?
That's right. And that's where the magic gets really fun. We've just started. I just wanted to cover those script steps so you see the complexity there. But this gets really fun because now if I do my chat again, 56, right? Now I'm not using the location, but you clearly called the custom function to get that. And we can see the tool call here. This is how I taught the model what the tool call was. And this is the other thing you got to learn is how to pass this in to the model. And we'll cover this in detail tomorrow, but there's a couple nice tools out there. Like there's the schema formatter thing where you can go in and you can say, my function is going to be get weather. I can't spell weather
At all.
at
There you go.
all. Get the weather for the location.
Okay.
And then add a parameter location type string,
Jesus.
right? The locate the name of the location.
Right.
All right. So this is what models take for how you define a tool. And so we use the same thing. We say it's required, right? So what this does, that's all I did is I copied this out. I pasted this into this field here. And well, when we look at this script, we'll go through exactly how that gets handed off. But that's it. That's the thing. We pass that into the generate response. It now goes, oh, that's a tool call. So it returns back in tool calls. You need to call get weather, and the location is Boston. So if I said, now it's still
Yeah.
going to return 56 because our custom function is dumb, right?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
only
Yeah.
knows 56, but watch what it's going to say up here.
Mm.
And you can see here, it parsed out Ventura.
As being the
So,
location. Yeah, okay.
right. So what this big structure does is it gives the model the information enough to know I want to call this get function, and the location argument is Ventura. So like we could make our custom function a little smarter. Not menu. We could do let's do Ventura,
Mm-hmm.
and that is,
Oh, some number. Okay.
76 degrees. And maybe partly cloudy.
Yeah. And then it's
And then we could just do a default, right? We'll just do like
okay.
56.
Partly tornadoes. There you go.
Partly tornadoes. maybe tornadoes.
Tornadoes.
Right. So now our custom function is a little smarter, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now we wipe out our chat. We start over. We say, what is the weather in Ventura?
Yeah, we're gonna have to get you some sugar and caffeine. You're running low. Oh, there we go. Maybe tornado conditions. Nice.
No, I actually got it wrong. So Ventura, I thought was our 76 and sunny. So did I screw up
It
the
was?
spelling? I probably screwed up the spelling. Oh, look at that. I put Ventura, California. Ha ha.
Oh, so your Ventura was generic. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, like these are the things you got to deal with, right? But
I'm trying to decide if AI is going to help our lives or make our lives more miserable.
it's going to help, but it's definitely a new thing. Like it's like when we got the web. We had to learn a whole bunch of new stuff.
Well, I mean, I
There's
imagine
just
learning
no
how
question.
When the
Like,
web
that's-
came out, I was like 25 and young and good looking and shit, right? That was a
Oh,
long
come on,
time ago.
baloney.
I was never good looking. Okay, got it. Yeah, no, I mean that's the thing, right? So
No, I mean, like, there's no silver bullet here. What AI does let you do some things really easily that you couldn't do before, like impossible.
yeah.
But there's no question there's more to do. Like, and you know,
Well,
People keep worried that they're not going to have a job after AI
Yeah,
comes
I
out.
I mean,
No,
look,
it's going to take two engineers, not one, to do the project.
there's you know, like there, there are potential downsides to all of us that program. There's no question. Like I know it's not going to happen this year or next year, but I don't know what program is going to be in 3 or 4 years. I don't know. Like in 5 years or 10 years, I have no idea. I got to make it 10 more, then I can retire. But I really don't know. But I can tell you today, it's very clear that some things are ridiculously easy that were very hard before. And there's a whole new world of things that you could build that you couldn't build before.
Yeah.
Whole new world. You will have to learn how to build those new things. It
yes.
doesn't come for free.
Anyone under the age of 70 years old is required to attend and pay attention.
It's just
Anyone
gonna-
over
Well,
75.
because there's this concept that AI is like some magical divine thing that makes your life snap easier.
you most of what you see, the things where it works really well, are things that have been the prompt engineering has all been done.
That's what I'm saying.
They
The
figured out how to
sausage
do all the
has already been
chaining,
processed.
right?
They already did all that. The
They've already
prompt
done it
engine-
all. And so
Yeah.
you see, so that is now your job that you do for your customers or for your company, just like you built layouts for reports or forms for data entry or scripts for processing. You now
Yeah.
get to do that, but you got a new tool in your toolbox, and that is AI. And it is awesomely powerful, but you are going to have to learn.
So
There's
every
just
time we do
no
prompt
way around
engineering,
it.
I want a sound effect where the pigs are squealing as they go into the sausage factory. It's awesome.
So we'll go through this file in a little bit more tomorrow, but like
Yes.
like here's one thing that's just kind of interesting. This agentic mode, I'll set the stage for this. Agentic mode is when the generate response from model loops on itself automatically. And so if I call this same script I called before, with agentic mode off, what we're going to get, and this is going to be important, get weather in, how do I spell weather correctly?
That was it.
Did I have it right?
W-E-A-T-H. No, H-E-R-E-R.
Get weather in Ventura.
Comma, California.
Now watch what happens.
Okay.
No response. You didn't really see this one. Let me clear this out so you can see that happening. But we got a tool call. So with agentic mode off, after our generate response from model comes back, there's a tool call array you can get. You can now loop through this tool call array, and call these things yourself. So this is how we do scripts today. In the next model, In the next version, you're going to be able to call scripts automatically in agentic mode. But again, it's one of these things where I think for the easy stuff, you're going to want agentic mode on. It'll just take care of it for you. But if you want to do stuff with any complexity, you're probably going to turn agentic mode off and run the tool and execute those FileMaker scripts or evaluate those custom functions yourself so that you have the additional control you'll need to put the pig through the sausage grinder, as you say, right?
Oh, well, it's what it is. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah. So with
And it go-
agentic mode on, it calls the function and it generates a new response. With agentic mode on, it just tells you these are the tool calls you need to make. Go make them. Right. Anyway, we'll get into this tomorrow. This is I had to write this just to figure out how all these steps worked. And but this is actually basic chat. We see a little chat showing up here, sort of.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So this is like tomorrow will be the base level chat, like tool calling, and then the next day we'll dive in a little deeper into proof chat.
Okay.
So, but yeah, fun stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Margaret make no pig goes in the sausage factory.
Are there any more questions?
Front way.
Oh,
forward.
yes, there are, but
right.
we're at 2:44 and there's
Yeah.
like 10 questions. So I don't know how you want to handle that.
Well, look, give me one.
In all your testing, Todd, what is the total amount that you've paid to AI services / isn't nicely formatted more tokens?
It's under well, okay. My testing of the FileMaker stuff, it's under $30.
There you go.
Not an issue. Next question.
Not an
Keep
issue.
going.
Yeah. Now, in my AI coding, when I'm coding, I spent $300 in a single afternoon once. So different.
I'm curious as to what you were doing. Anyway,
I wasn't paying attention. That's what I was doing.
if a search always tells me there is an error in the query, what should I check first in the table? Relationships, fields, LLM comments?
Yeah, I would look. I mean, depends on which one you're doing, like whether it's the perform find or the perform SQL query. They kind of have those debugging functions in there. Like they're not really debugging. I actually use them, but you know, the stuff where, like, if you're doing the generate, where was it? Perform find here. You know, you could do the same thing where you can see what the request that's being generated looks like. So you can go and flip this to request as JSON and look at that request and see if it's making something that doesn't make any sense. And then you're going to go back and tweak the prompt or the fields on the layout that generate the prompt until you get until you get it right.
There you go. What about using AI and FM to generate code instead of using ChatGPT or Cloud to write FileMaker code?
So I showed that VibeX thing once here didn't I, to show that on RCC?
I think you did.
Yeah, and like you guys wanted to start a Kickstarter for this.
Yeah,
remember?
This was very cool. Yes.
So this still exists. It's I haven't worked on it in a while. I'll probably move it into if I continue with it, I'll probably move it into proof chat. So there's like a code mode where you could generate FileMaker code. But FM VibeX was the thing that I showed that does this. It's not, I need to do a lot more work on it. I know a lot more about how to make all this stuff work now. So there's a chance that I can make it pretty good.
Well, this is really what Claris needs for.
They need this in the product, I think.
Yeah.
Kalman said last week, because someone was scooching around in my chats, going like, "Hey, why doesn't this exist yet?" Kalman has said that it's on like their short list of things to be done. That they're working on it
and so,
actively.
like, I don't know how far I want to go down this road if they're going to ship something relatively soon, but I can do some stuff. And it's like what I think is probably going to happen is we'll make it available as part of proof chat in some way, like you flip to code mode. And then you can generate XML for the FileMaker clipboard kind of stuff.
And then what, paste it in through the clipboard? Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of what I was doing here. You know, like what I tend to use this a lot for is like I use it to make comments. Like I paste a script in there and say write all the comments. It's pretty good at that, and then I just copy the comments back.
That's a weasel stunt right there. That's a level 12 weasel, Todd.
It's
Write my
great.
comment
Love
for me. Well, assuming it does them correct and it reads your
It does it
mind.
pretty good. Like, let's try it. Like, let's see if we can find a script here that.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, execute.
Let's
Todd
find a
Weasel
script that
mode.
has something that we can comment, though. That's the other thing.
What about the SQL
Yeah, that one
copy?
right there. There's a bunch of
These don't have
comment.
good, like, it's really good if you have like JSON, get script parameter, and then it splices all those out. It's pretty good at that. I don't really have anything in this file. Maybe, let's see, do I have anything in,
Do you have an FMSP floating around somewhere?
do I have anything that has that in it?
Yeah, but we normally comment the scripts, Margaret, like some people.
I might have it in another copy of this dev file. I don't know.
Margaret, quit encouraging him. We're already coming up on 2 hours here. Right?
This
This is
Yeah,
like a
I-
Nick Hunter live stream. It's like Nick Hunter. We can't get the guy to shut up.
All right, I'll stop it there. I'll see if I can get some. Maybe we'll show later. in the
Everyone's
week.
left probably anyway. We're
No,
gonna break this
actually,
into-
most of them are still here, which is amazing. Most people have abandoned the ship already, but we have a lot of people still here.
I'll maybe show something if I have I'll maybe show something later in the week, but I think that's what we're going to do with the coding stuff. I need to look at it and just see if I can get it to a level where it's not making really bad mistakes. I don't want it to be, like I want it to be, I don't know, 60 to 80% accurate. I don't think I'll be able to get it above that, but if I can do that, it might be useful for certain cases. Like I think you could do, like what I think I could do is like, if you're in code mode, drop a JSON payload in there and say, write a script that parses this JSON and sets it into this table. And because it
That
can
would
read the
be
schema,
awesome. That would
and then
be
it reads
great.
the schema of the file, it could probably do that.
Yeah.
So things like that could be useful. So I'll probably try to see if I can get stuff like that to work, So
Okay.
anyway.
All right, everyone. Well, Todd's still going, and it's been super useful. And I hate to stop. It's the mechanics of the day, right? How many 2 hours of the day? But this is clearly, you see me and Margaret pushing back on Todd and Todd making the case. Every time we give him a hard question, he delivers a good answer, which is great. And it's a huge thing that we have to learn, and we are learning it. And they call it prompt engineering, but it's basically pig processing is what it is.
AI engineering is what we're doing now. And that's the thing. It's learning to work with AIs to produce the results that we want.
Yeah.
And we are at the baby steps here. We're at the very beginning of this process.
Cool.
It'll be going on for at least a couple of years before super intelligence takes over everything, and
and then nukes us, right?
Right, exactly.
The Terminator, right?
Until the AI takes over, we're going to be learning how to work with it, and hopefully we work with it good enough so that when it takes over, it finds us useful enough to keep around.
Well, that's why you have to say please and thank you at the beginning and end of your prompts.
Yeah. That's right.
Anyway,
That's right.
Anyway, Kevin Binder says if Todd's still alive, I'm not leaving. So I thought you would appreciate that, Todd.
Oh, that's very nice. That's very nice.
All right, everybody. I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much, Todd. Thank you for staying the extra hour with us and answering questions and going over with this.
It's been really great. I
been
regret nothing.
fantastic.
This has been fantastic. Really good.
Excellent. Glad to hear
Yeah.
it.
So thank you very much.
We regret nothing. Nothing is regretted.
All right, everybody.